Welcome to another edition of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. Today, I'm going to make what my mom just called simply hot dogs and beans. Some of you call it beanies and weenies, whatever it's called. This is my mom's version. This is something that I'm convinced when she was in a pinch for time, it was hot dogs and beans, because this can be thrown together in like 10 to 15 minutes really quickly. It's very inexpensive and it's really good. So here are your ingredients. If you notice in the ingredients, my mom had two very specific things she always used. Number one, in the Detroit area, we had Kowalski markets, and we would only have Kowalski hot dogs with the skins. The other thing, the only type of beans she ever used was Campbell's. Now, I don't get any credit. I'm not marketing any of this for them. I'm not telling you what to get. I'm just saying this is what we always had. It was the Campbell's pork and beans and Kowalski hot dogs. My mom always used this exact frying pan. This is hers, and this was her big spoon. So this is very much her on a plate. So first, my mom always had one onion. That's what she used, and she used to slice these into fairly thick slivers, just simply like this. And she would cut the hot dogs not on an angle, and she would leave the ends as well. She would just cut them to be fairly thin too, because the more pieces of hot dogs we had, the more it looked like you were getting on your plate. So again, fairly thin, not too thick. She just cut them straight across. Then after cutting the hot dogs, it's time to get to the stove. My mom would turn the stove on medium high, and she would add her oil. Once the oil was heated up and moved all around, then she would add her onion. Then we add some salt, so we sweat these onions out and break them up into pieces. Now, while the onions are just starting, she added in her hot dogs. She cooked both of them pretty much together. Then she stirred these around. And what we're looking to get is the onions with a little browning on them, and we want to get some brown on all of the hot dogs. Now we're going to just let this cook on medium for a little bit. Now the way you know you can start turning this is you can start smelling the cooking of the hot dogs. And so you'll just stir them around just a little bit. You see how this browning is happening? When you get that smell, and it smells so good, you just turn everything and see the fond on the bottom of the pan. That's the onions, that's the hot dogs cooking, that's all flavor that'll be mixed in with the beans. How my mom knew that, I have no idea, but boy, is it good. So I'm going to cover this just a little bit. I got too small of a lid, but that's enough to steam and cook the onions just a little bit more. So now we can see these are all nice and brown. The onions are getting nice and soft. The hot dogs are nice and brown. So now it's time to add our beans. Straight from the can go the beans. Now we're going to stir these beans and hot dogs all together. I'm going to turn the heat up on high. I'm going to bring this to a boil. Once you see it coming to a boil, we're going to stir this for about 2 minutes so that all the beans are fully heated up to the boiling point. Once you see this whole thing is boiling around the edges and even in the center, it's time to plate. So plating this is really simple. I've got my mom's big spoon. I'm going to put a couple heaping piles of this great beans, onions, and hot dogs on my plate. I've got a couple pieces of hard bread. We only had Wonder Bread. So we would take plain Wonder Bread, put some butter on it, fold it over, and that's how we would eat it at the table. Everybody would have that around the table. And this was a complete meal. But my wife had got me some whole grain, nice crunchy bread. And I thought, you know, I'm going to break some tradition, at least with just the bread. And there you have it. My mom's very fast, very quick, and economical hot dogs and beans. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. I hope you give this a try. It's really simple, it's really fast, it's really economical, and it's really good. I hope you come and see me again. Buon appetito, everybody. Bye.